I have to get to this because I get to this on just about every one of my podcasts. You worked with Cesar Romero.
Yeah.
Okay.
The joke
A few times.
Watch it, Frankie.
Okay.
Here's the story I
Yeah?
heard about Cesar Romero, legendary song and dance man and Latin lover, that in person he was gay. And to quote Jerry Seinfeld, not that there's anything wrong with that. But I heard, the story that I heard was that he would gather like these young boy toys around him, and he'd pull down his pants and underwear and have them all fling orange wedges at his ass.
I wish you could see Frankie Avalon's face, folks.
Now, but, I had heard that he was gay. I never saw anything at all. Never saw any young toys around.
Yes.
Nothing like that. As a matter of fact, we went to a strip joint one time with Arnold Stang and Cesar Romero. So
You buried the lead, Frankie.
Yeah.
A strip joint with Cesar Romero and Arnold Stang.
But is it true that half of the budget of that movie went to buying citrus fruit?
makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sweet.
It's Gilbert! Perfecto Records presents Gilbert Swings with the Youth, a 6-record set of all of today's relevant hits.
You know, he sings on almost every episode.
Yes. Who wants to grow up? Who wants responsibility? Oh, no, not me.
Featuring Paul Schaefer.
He farted on you. He farted on you.
The teacher's calling you a problem. Ooh, that's when the use. Should I say that it's a blue world without you? Whisper words for ailments subterminal. My charges are nominal. Poor and healthy, sick, poor and healthy. Oh, sick and healthy. See, rather than saying child, they lead you that they're going to say problem child. They go problem. Woo.
Oh,
Yes.
Beautiful.
And then I think Margaret Dumont would sing, he's wonderful for curing things.
you were in the video too,
Yes.
playing the problem child.
No, they had the actual kid there.
Oh, and
Yeah.
what were you, the therapist?
When we stop to gaze upon a star, people talk about how bad we are. Hooray for Captain Spaulding, the African explorer. Did someone call me Snorer? Hooray, hooray, hooray. When it came to shooting straight and fast, he was mine. I'm on the road tonight. Everyone needs a dream to hold on. Put on a happy face.
Almost got harmony there.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Even though the sound of it.
You have to go up a half too. It goes up a little. But never mind.
Those baby towns she told, those streets all paved with gold. Today I thought I smelt something awful in the kitchen, but it was you. You gave me a good time, but I can come after all is said and done. You should bathe every hour. I keep telling you.
Order today!
Gilbert swings with the youth, though some say he's uncouth. That's all I have so far.
I heard that Chico from the Marx Brothers and Maria Uspenskaya had lunch together one time.
What?
They went to a restaurant together.
No.
Lunch. Yeah.
I'm out of cards.
I feel like I don't even have to say anything. I just want to feel this. I just want to feel this. I look around the room and, I was like, God damn, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? And I'm like, this is not a funeral. This is a celebration. That I prepared. This I did not prepare. I'm like, I'm just going to speak from the heart. And I look around the room, and I just want everyone to look to the people next to them and just feel what I'm feeling because, this room is filled with fans of the podcast, of friends, of family, we are all a family, and I'm so grateful. There are people here that flew in from LA, from Pennsylvania, from the Berkshires, from Florida, from Vegas, Emily, from all Milwaukee. Gino's here from Milwaukee. The rabbi's here from Ohio. It's unbelievable. The story goes, and I'll keep it short because we have a lot of great stuff. You guys are going to be in fucking heaven tonight with Gilbert. Anyway, but the story goes that Gilbert had just gotten let go from Aflac, and I said, Gilbert, Jeff Lesh is here, Gilbert's agent, and he's like, can Gilbert fucking just update his act already? Like, come on, Dara, like enough with the jokes about like O.J. Simpson and Molly Ringwald. It's enough already, Like, we need to make money other ways now. And I said, Gilbert, please. I would like print out like what's in the news, and he would look at me like, I'm not doing this. So I called Frank, who I knew was a writer, and I said, maybe you can inspire Gilbert to like write a couple new jokes. And he said, I can't do this, but I'll get on the phone with him. And the two of them got on the phone, and they just, for hours, 2:00 in the morning, talking about the most obscure movie references. I had no clue what they were talking about. And I said, you know what? This is making him happy. And I said, why don't we do something with this? Let's start a podcast. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Next thing you know, I get them a deal, and I figure out how to record a podcast at home and how to record remote. And we're at our kitchen table, and we're starting a podcast. And I did this because I wanted to do something for Gilbert to make him happy. And this was an excuse for him to talk to his heroes. Who the hell knew that anybody would give a shit? Excuse my language. Sorry, my kids are here. Sorry. And next thing you know, 8 years later, 400 interviews. It's unbelievable the amount of people and who every week we looked forward to doing this podcast. The incredible talent that we were in the room with and how much joy it brought Gilbert. And I have to tell you all, Gilbert was not great at expressing his feelings. You may know that. But he loved doing this more than anything. He loved this show. And what we have now, this history and these incredible interviews and laughter and joy and stories, and this will live on forever. This will live on forever. And I'm so proud, and I'm so touched that it touched so many people. Unbelievable. Look at your bag. Your orange wedge bag. Come on. So let's just have a lot of fun tonight. You guys are in for such a treat, and I gotta tell you, this could not have happened if it was not for Frank Santopadre and his wife Genevieve. Seriously, I mean, these guys deserve a standing ovation. I mean, we could save it for later since everyone's sitting, but I cannot tell you how hard they worked to put this all together, and they really deserve the credit tonight. And I'm so grateful, everyone, what you're going to see tonight. It's just going to be so much fun. Let's just have the best fucking time tonight. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal Podcast Live! Tonight, we come to you from City Winery for an evening of laughs, music, and memories as we salute the podcast, which, over 8 years and well over 1,000 hours, showcased and chronicled some of the greatest tales and personalities in show business history. Of course, it was a show that also forever changed the significance of so many otherwise innocent things like strawberry malteds, helicopter rides, what it means to love chicken, and of course, wedges of citrus. Some say orange, some others say tangerine. Allegedly. I'm your announcer, Josh Chambers. And we have many luminaries from GGACP's amazing and colossal past, including the incomparable Craig Bierko, the oft-imitated but never duplicated Mario Cantone, the multi-talented Dr. Rupert Holmes, and the lovely and talented Richard Kind. Providing our tunes tonight are the fabulous Joe McGinty, Seth Saltzman,
And Julian Maley.
the amazing Colossal Orchestra. And what sort of show would it be without our co-host, Gino Salamone? And now, please put your hands together for one of the hardest working and longest suffering people in show business, second only to Danny Thomas's housekeeper, our friend, Mr. Frank Santopadre.
Dara said. All right. A family walks into a talent agent's office. We're back, folks, for one night. And I got a lot of cards. Thank you, Dara. That was beautiful. What Dara said. Thank you all for coming. There's a lot of people to thank. Thank you guys for coming out on a school night. And let me shout out the filmmakers of the two shorts you saw. Brendan Bliss is here. Where are you, Brendan? Take a bow. Is he here? He's here someplace. Brendan, who made that wonderful Frankie Avalon animation. And the two gentlemen who made the Muppet video, Ryan Dillon and Mark Gale, who aren't here, but absolutely wonderful. Thanks to our announcer, Josh Chambers. Before we start, and we got a big show with a lot of people and a couple of wonderful surprises. By the way, hi, Eddie. I I want to thank everybody too for the outpouring of support. The people who sent so many letters and so many notes since April. The people on Patreon. It's been, as Dara says, it was unexpected that this show would turn into this and create this community, which is really what it's become about. But I'm very touched, and I continue to hear from people. Months later, I've tried to answer everybody, and it's nice to see actual faces here tonight. So there's lots of people to thank. We'll save most of that till later in the evening. We have a lot of friends. Yes, Sprank, you did that. You thank those people. And it's a packed show, as Dara said. So we're going to get to it. Like I said, a few surprises. And it's a joy. I'm glad you're all here. So we're going to remember Gilbert. We're going to have some fun. We're going to sing some of Gilbert's favorite songs. And there's even going to be audience participation, which you'll see. I have to move to another card. The man doesn't do anything without cards. How about that band, by the way, too? All right, where is that card? Okay, I'm bringing somebody out who is my co-pilot for this evening. I think you all know him from the show, you loyal listeners. He's a radio and TV personality, an entertainment reporter, Milwaukee's finest, Adam West's personal muscle. Some of you will get that joke. And he's been a very important part of this show and this 8-year adventure. And he's done a lot for the show. You know him, you love him. You can't live without him. Gino Salamone. Sit. We're doing this Carson style, but we don't have a couch.
Oh, should I be this far away from you?
No, you should start next
All
to
right. I'm not doing a Dean Martin act with, ooh, how did all these people get in my room? But there's a movie, I'm a movie critic, Boys in the Hood, and when they'd pay tribute to someone, they'd take a 40-ouncer and empty it. So I couldn't do that for Gilbert, but I do have a hotel room shampoo. For you, Gilbert!
Perfect. Beautiful.
Where are those shampoos anyway, Dara?
Dara, where are you? You over there? What happened to all the hotel shampoos? Did you donate them? They're still under the bed. Okay. Gino flew all the way in from Milwaukee to try to help me maintain control tonight. It's a futile attempt, I can tell you right now.
You're going to see what a futile attempt. He was saying that he'd like everyone out by 9 and that the garages close at what time?
Midnight.
Good luck. It's going to be 3 a.m., I think.
If the show is half as funny as what's been going on in that green room. Now, you did, we were going to welcome you to That's Amore, by the way. The band had prepared it, but we didn't have the rights.
Hey, I know a few guys if you need the...
You did 4 or 5 episodes with us, mini
so.
episodes, and the Al Lewis stories.
Yes.
And the Adam West stories and the Joe Cobb stories. But you have a particular grievance that you always shared with us about Gilbert.
He would steal my stories and tell them as if they were his own. And he wouldn't tell me, so I would be in the car listening to the podcast, and all of a sudden, wait a minute. That really sounds familiar. And then he even went so far as I had a children's show host whose name was Big Lee. And I found Big Lee after all the years. He was like in his 90s, and I took him out for lunch, and I said, can I get you anything? And he said, I'll take a beer. He said, do you want anything? I said, I don't drink or smoke. And he said, do you have an aversion to pussy? And I heard Gilbert tell that story that it happened to him, and that Big Lee was his children's show host.
Which of all the thefts, the stories that he stole from you, which one hurt the most?
You know, I'll tell you, I think you know what hurts the most. It's not really a theft. It's Sandra
it's the Sandra Bullock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You want to tell it?
Sure. I asked Gilbert a simple thing. I'm interviewing Sandra Bullock. I said, can you walk in and just say, will you marry him? And I'm going to say, I've got a guy, I know you haven't heard me, but you'll hear this guy. So I don't know what I was thinking. Said, he walks in, would you just marry the guy? He goes, I mean, look at him. He's disgusting. I'll have sex with you. He said, marry him and I'll fuck you. And I saw my career ending before my eyes. I cannot believe it. And then I hear the words that still just sicken me to this day. She said, I will fuck you. And so I was waiting, publicist coming this way. I like, okay, here it comes. She said, oh, that was outstanding. That was the best yet. And he loved hearing that. Frank Verderosa, the great engineer. How many times would he ask for that clip?
20 times an episode.
Yeah.
You know his children are here, and you're using
Wait a minute.
off-color language.
No, I was at the funeral. The way Jeff Ross started, I think they can handle, I'll fuck you.
You never heard a skull-fucking joke in a synagogue before? What's the matter with you?
And then having to follow that.
That was rough. That was rough. Did you prepare a bit, or was that the bit that you opened with?
This is my bit.
No, did you have a Gilbert tribute? Was that it?
That was my Gilbert tribute.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Look, we have so many people back there. We don't have time for anything.
I thought we were building to a big payoff.
No, you start with the big payoff.
Gilbert used to. This I didn't know about Gilbert. He used to book autograph shows, celebrity autograph shows.
I did not book him, but I heard that.
Yeah,
yes.
And also Gilbert was briefly an entertainment reporter in Milwaukee. Is that true?
That is true. That is true. And also had Ruth Buzzy screw him out of $40.
Right. You want to tell the Ruth Buzzy story? Quick.
I have Grandpa Munster and Eddie Munster at the autograph show, and I look, and there's poor Ruth Buzzy. Now, Charlton Heston's there, $15 an autograph. Not bad for Moses, okay? I see Ruth Buzzy, and no one is at her table, and I feel horrible. So I walk over, and she said, are you Italian? I said, yes. She said, so am I. I said, you know what? I'll take one of those. So she writes this nice thing, and she looks up, and she says, $40. Gilbert got such joy in that. He would say, tell me about the time again that Ruth Buzzy fucked you out of $40.
We can't share a lot of the things that you said to Gilbert that brought him joy.
No. There are things that no one will ever know.
You'll have to call us or email us on the sly. It's going to be a long night. You want to get to the first guest?
I think we need to. It's
okay.
important.
So where's Paul? Do we have our mic stand for our first performance? We're all set. Wonderful. Let's introduce him. Everybody having fun so far? I learned a new word researching our first guest, and the word is polymath. Does anybody know what that means? Who knows what polymath is? What is it? Close enough. It's a Renaissance man, yes. I'm going to get through this intro before he starts heckling me from the green room. He is a Renaissance man. He is a polymath. He's a Tony-winning, multiple Tonys, in fact, for Broadway musical The Mystery of Edwin Drood. And he wrote a Broadway musical called Curtains. He is a TV producer. He is a writer. He is a prolific recording artist. He's a novelist. He's got a new novel that's coming out. He's written tunes that have been recorded by everyone from Barry Manilow to Barbra Streisand to Dolly Parton to the Partridge Family. I think you know who I'm talking about. And he's our only guest to have met Groucho, Jerry Lewis, and Orson Welles.
Did Gilbert ever meet Jerry Lewis?
Maybe.
And how did it go?
He was nice to him.
He was always nice to him.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
There's a rumor about that. We could go on and on. Our friend, Rupert Holmes. We're changing seats. We're doing this.
I'm Ed McMahon moving down the line.
Every time the music stops, one chair will be taken away.
We're doing this Carson style. You did the show 4 times, Roop, including a special trivia call-in show. Do you remember doing that with us?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was wonderful.
That was the Russ Kunkel night.
Yeah.
Now, you said this to me, that you said Gilbert was only interested, he wasn't interested in your many, many achievements, your Tony, your novel.
Nothing.
Your Edgar Awards.
Yes.
All the wonderful things that you've accomplished in your life. He was only interested in the underbelly of your career.
Absolutely. Gilbert was the reduced me to my lowest common denominator, and I loved that. You know, I mean, I've tried to make this kind of respectable career for myself.
Sure.
You know, Tony Awards.
We all did.
I recently I have an honorary doctorate from the Manhattan School
We
of Music.
introduced you as Dr. Rupert Holmes.
Yeah. No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like a drug dealer being made an honorary pharmacist. You know, but Gilbert just cared about everything unsavory
Yep.
and he just embraced. I don't think we once talked about a single Broadway play that I wrote
Yeah.
ever. Nothing?
No.
It was mainly about things like that I had the first hit record, not as an artist, but as a songwriter, about cannibalism. And I did.
Who remembers Rupert's song Timothy about cannibals and yeah.
Now, I did not sing that song. That was sung by a group called The Boys. And I'm very proud of having written that. I was
should be.
I was about 20 years old, and I knew absolutely no one in the record business except a junior engineer at Scepter Records, which was just on the 4th floor above Studio 54. And he got a deal from Scepter Records to make one single with a band that he'd found out of Pennsylvania. And he said, I know that the label is just doing this as a courtesy. They have no interest in the single that I'm going to make with the band. What do I do? They don't care. I said, well, record a song that gets banned. And he said, why would I do that?
Smart.
I said, because then there'll be controversy. There'll be, you know, and you can go to another label and say, this was the group that got banned, and they would have been a hit. He said, well, you write a song that will get banned. I said, yes, because I said yes to everything at that time. And I couldn't think of what to come up with. Drugs, no. Sex, well, if it was too overt, it just wouldn't get on the radio. It had to get on the radio a little so it could get banned.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's no... And I was working on an arrangement at that time, 20 years old, of 16 tons for an artist, and the cooking show, The Galloping Gourmet, was on the TV in the other room.
Graham Kerr.
Graham Kerr and Deborah Carr and Walter Kerr need to get together and get their
figure it out.
last names
Yeah.
right. But so I'm singing. Some people say a man is made out of mud. A coal man's made out of muscle and blood. Muscle and blood and skin and bones. I said, it sounds like a recipe. Because of Graham Kerr in the other room. And so I wrote a song about 3 boys who are trapped in a mine, and when they rescue them, there are only 2 of them left, and they're not hungry anymore. And it did. It went to 17 in the Billboard charts, and it was just through sheer persistence and willpower and trying to be cunning. And people would say, well, do you think it's right that you're singing about cannibalism to teenage? And I said, well, I don't think they're going to go out and do it. You know, it's these people. So, yeah, that was a thing that Gilbert liked a lot.
Also, you wrote a novel called Where the Truth Lies. People might know the movie. The movie with Colin Firth and Kevin Bacon, which is a pretty good movie, is not so faithful to your book.
No.
And Gilbert, for some reason, got fixated on this idea that Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin had gotten it on. And so, you know, and I've got like 20 cards in the Rupert interview, and Gilbert was always a dog with a bone, wouldn't let go of this Lewis, and then it led into a Jerry having sex with Dean impression. Yeah. And poor Rupert, you know, he's a civilized guy.
Well, what was wonderful
Man
about
of letters.
Gilbert was a shaman. You say shaman, and I say shaman. And he was the one who would always say what everyone in the room was thinking but would never say.
Oh, please.
And Gilbert would, and I could take a story up to sort of where it would cease to be in good taste, and then Gilbert would take care of things by just nailing it all right there.
Peck's bad boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he liked the fact that I wrote the music for porno films. He
That's
loved
right.
that.
Yeah, that's right. The Georgina Spelvin thing.
I actually did I wrote. See, when you're struggling, you're a kid. I was in my early 20s, and you want to write music for movies. Hitchcock never called me, you know? But I found that they were willing to let me write music for porno films because no one cares what the music sounds like. You see the guys leaving the dirty movie theater and they say, frankly, I thought the leitmotif and the second reel, the French horn was not well developed. And so I did this. I did the music for 2 porno films. One was the sequel to Deep Throat called Memories Within Misagi, and another was called What?
Yeah.
Who are you?
This crowd. This is the crowd.
These are my people.
Yeah.
Yeah, Memories Within. It was the sequel to Deep Throat. And then I did the music for another one called Wet Rainbow, and that was significant because
Wet Rainbow.
Wet Rainbow.
Nothing to do with Judy Garland.
With the mandatory Harry Reams and Georgina Spelvin. Sure. But what happened? A couple things. If you know filmmaking, I did the music and I wrote songs for it, and I put my name on the movie. I had never released an album, and I put my name on the movie. And the songs were pretty good. But then at the mix, they came to me and said, we got a problem because we have a lot of close-ups of Georgina Spelvin in the middle of having sex, and she's saying things, and we didn't record her. We were just doing that without sound, So you're in charge of sound, all the sound. So I did most of the moans and groans for Georgina Spelvin.
Could we hear one?
It was mainly, don't stop. Don't stop now. So there was a lot of that.
Like I said, Renaissance man.
And then there was, Gilbert would have liked this. I don't know if we ever talked about it, but there was one scene that was where in the master shot, and by the way, that's a well-chosen phrase, in the master shot, you had sound. And it was Harry Reams and a woman pleasuring Harry Reams. And when they cut to the tight close-up, there was no sound again. And they said, Rupert? So I was drinking an iced tea, and there was a lemon floating in it. I went into the sound booth, and I sucked on this lemon for about 15 minutes to supply the sound for that scene. And thank you. From God through me to you.
You know, anybody can write a Broadway musical. But that...
And I want to know how you write. Back with the down. That's the only important music down. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But you have to ask me, now that I've revealed that, you have to ask me how I came to meet Barbra Streisand and work with her. I'm just only because I've inadvertently set something up.
Take it.
Okay.
How did you meet Barbra Streisand?
So now I've put out my first album, and I get this call. And a woman says, hi, this is Barbra Streisand. I've listened to your album. I really like it, and I like the songs on it. I'd like to record some of the tunes, and I see you do your own orchestrations, so you should probably fly out here and record it. And I said, that's the worst Barbra Streisand impression I've ever heard. And it turned out to be Barbra Streisand. And we did an album together called Lazy Afternoon. That you won't applaud, but Memories...
It's a great album.
And I wrote a lot of it, and I did the charts. But I got curious. Once I knew that I had the gig, now I'm writing songs for the movie A Star Is Born, not the recent one, but the old one. And I get curious. And I said, you know, Barbara, my first album, it was critically well received, but it wasn't a hit or anything like that. How did you first come to know about my album? And she said, well, I just finished an album called Butterfly, and the arranger was a fellow named Jack Nietzsche. And I knew who Jack Nietzsche was. Legend. He was the piano player on the early Rolling Stones records, and he also won an Oscar for writing the score for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And I said to Jack, do you know any new songwriters who are talented, whose work you like, that you can recommend? And he gave me your album, Widescreen. And I said, well, that's very interesting, but I understand now how you got to know it, but how did Jack Nietzsche become aware of me and follow me? And she said to me, well, apparently Jack Nietzsche really likes porno films. I'm not kidding. Swear to God.
You want to do a number with
Yeah,
us,
I
with
think- I
these
think
wonderful musicians?
Yeah,
It is
absolutely.
I believe it's the last #1 song of the 1970s. And you guys might know it. In fact, you might have lyric sheets on your tables. So we're going to make one request here, and that is to protect the talent and their families. If everybody, because this is a sing-along, if everybody would don their orange mask for this.
They get it.
Thank you very much. Now here comes the fun part. We did this on the podcast, and Gilbert, if you may remember, on Rupert's first episode, did a duet of it. So we tried to figure out how we were going to do this as a duet. And John Murray, is John Murray here? There's John. John Murray said, what if everybody in the audience impersonates Gilbert? So we're going to ask, it's a duet. Rupert's going to do his part, and you, led by Barrett Letty, who was a master Gilbert Gottfried impersonator, will all do Gilbert. You want to explain the rest?
Yeah. Sure. Okay. So when you give Gilbert permission to sing your best-known song, it is somewhat like a new mother handing her child to the doctor and saying, could you have the words "born to be wild" tattooed on his face? And I didn't know quite how badly Gilbert planned to sing the song. He was the Antichrist of this song. And so now you have lyric sheets here.
Yep.
Okay.
Everybody's got them.
And by the way, for $3, you may take these sheets home with you. And it's important, if we're going to honor Gilbert the way we should, and I do all the time, we need to sing it as in your best Gilbert voice and as loudly as you possibly can.
Try not to hurt your vocal cords.
And I appreciate you wearing the masks. This is in the tradition that whenever I sing, my audience is uncomfortable. So I'm going to sing the verses, first verse, and you'll sing the chorus. Second verse, and you'll sing the second chorus. And by the way, the lyrics change in the chorus, so keep your eyes there. And third chorus, I'm going to sing alone and soft. But we're going to come back for one big final chorus at the end. I think they're bold-faced. Are they bold-faced?
Yes.
The ones you sing, right? And there will be a pop quiz at the end of all this for you. So we're going to do this now. But you don't know what it means to me to be back together with these guys. It's been so long since the sound check before. This is a reunion of love, right? So do you want to count it off? Sure. Okay. Last #1 record of the 1970s, first of the 1980s, so it's the top of the charts for 2 decades. It goes like this. I was tired of my lady. We'd been together too long. Like a worn-out recording of a favorite song. So while she lay there sleeping, I read the paper in bed. And in the personal columns, there was this letter I read. It said, here we go. If you like pina colada. I am moved. I didn't think about my lady. Oh, right. I didn't think about my lady. I know it sounds kind of mean, but me and my old lady falling into the same old dull routine. So I wrote to the paper, took out a personal ad. And though I'm nobody's poet, I thought it wasn't half bad. I said, yes, I like pina coladas.
getting caught in the rain. And the health food, I am into champagne. I've got to meet you by tomorrow noon and cut through all this red tape at a bar called O'Malley's, where we'll plan our escape. Julian! So I waited with high hopes, and she walked in the place. I knew her smile in an instant. I knew the curve of her face. It was my own lovely lady. And she said, "Oh, it's you." Then we laughed for a moment. And I said, "I never knew that you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain and the feel of the ocean and the taste of champagne. If you'd like making love at midnight in the dunes on the Cape, then I'm the love that you've looked for. Come with me and escape." Okay, so we can get some hand claps going here. This is our last chorus. Let's sing for Gilbert. This is Woodstock all over again. Here we go. 1, 2. Yes, I like pina coladas, getting caught in the rain, and the feel of the ocean, and the taste of champagne. If people like making love at midnight in the dunes on the Cape, then I'm the love that you look for. Come with me and escape. Come with me and escape. Thank you.
Rupert Holmes, let's hear it for him. Dr. Rupert Holmes.
You know, I bought that 45 Timothy.
Did you?
I did.
By the buoys.
Yes.
Wow. Gilbert impersonations are hard on the...
And this is one of the best, you say?
Barrett Letty.
Could we hear a line?
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Wow. Wow.
Now this is Paul Williams meeting Shirley Temple. No, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna.
Wow.
Give me that. Barrett Letty. Man of many talents. Oh, we're going to move it along because we have about 42 people back there. You know these two gentlemen. We're going to bring them out together. They're my new favorite comedy team. Like Sacco and Vanzetti. You know them from TV shows like Mad About You, Boston Legal, Spin City, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Unreal, Damages, and Gotham, just to name a few movies like A Serious Man, A Bug's Life, Cinderella Man, Inside Out, The Long Kiss Goodnight, and Argo. They are both Tony nominees. They are both unofficial members of the Gilbert Gottfried Stock Company, as you are.
Well, thank you.
How about that band on Escape? And they are also two of the most versatile actors working today, and two of the funniest people I have ever met in my life, and two of Gilbert's favorite people, Craig Bierko and Richard Kind.
Dinner theater! Yay! Wait, I'm gonna lie on the floor and give it a second chance to see if it works. A Jimmy Kimmel Redux. Dinner theater. What are you having? Are you gonna eat all those fries? The pickle looks good, but yet thin in the middle. Okay. What do you need, Craig? What are you doing? Oh, Craig. What's the matter, Craig? Oh my God.
Good. It's all right.
Ollie.
You guys rearranging the furniture?
Ollie. Oh my God. You're gonna trip me. All right.
You don't want to get off it, do you?
Hi, boys.
Hello, Frank.
Hi, Rich.
You know, first of all, we should be at a table with pastrami. This is an outrage. I don't know what the hell we're doing here, and we're watching other people eat when all I want to do is eat. And free food. I want free food. Like Gilbert, I want free things.
Had you been here at 5:30, there was a buffet for the talent.
No, there wasn't.
Yes.
Not only wasn't I here because I'm going to sing a song, which is an outrage, but I didn't rehearse with the band.
It's okay.
And there was food.
It's okay. This audience is very forgiving.
This is a disaster. And it's nice to see a face with a name, because I've really never seen your face. I've only heard your name.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Craig, did you bring the thing? Did you bring the thing?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Just in case you want to talk.
What do you got?
I'm going to sing something a little bit later.
He is.
I'm theatrically trained. I don't need that.
In fact, if this is a podcast, we're going to do it live. We'll scream out to the rest of the country.
We're going to do it live. No, you don't make fun of this man. He's truly one of the most talented people I've ever met.
He is.
Move it closer. Move it closer.
He's one of the most talented people I've ever met. And as funny as he is, I've seen him do drama, and he's a very funny man. No. He can do it all. He does it all. And he's literally doing it all because I'm sitting on my ass. But I'm going to... listen, we all have...
It is fat. There's 25 of those in the world.
It's the Richard Kind doll.
And as a Jew, that sits upon my Christmas tree instead of a star. It does. Craig, it's a podcast, and as funny as this wire is, nobody at home is getting it. Nobody could see it. Oh, for God's sake. You kids are loving it. Jesus, God almighty. Dear God.
You guys have to tour.
All right, let's start.
I should have been in Cinderella Man. Okay, let's go.
Oh, man. There were days I wish you were, but you know...
How did you guys meet? Because I don't think I know this story.
Richard, you
something to
tell
do with
us.
Carol Burnett, or was it
No.
Second City?
Do you think it was on the TV show that you were doing with Caroline? And
No, I wasn't on that show. But you mean
I think it was.
Pride and Joy.
Pride and Joy.
I think it was.
Yes.
No. Sit down. That was a nice ride. It was a fun ride.
movie got bigger applause. I'm sorry.
I know.
How do you think we met? How do you think
no,
we met?
I remember.
Okay.
Sally Murphy, are you here?
Sally? You here, Sally?
Is Sally here?
She's right
Yeah.
there. Hi,
Oh,
Sally.
we got you a
Oh.
great seat. Why
Let's see
even
the
drive
house.
here? Sally and I, we used to date when we were at Northwestern University. She's still a great friend of mine, and we and her cousin Maureen Kelly was in Second City.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh. Wow.
Here comes the baby. So
Wow.
Now we went to see the show. We went to see Maureen, but Second City was always just the greatest for me. I loved Second City, but they had been getting at this point. This would have been around 1984, 85, and Second City was getting a lot of criticism because there were a lot of people coming to Chicago and looking for talent, particularly for Saturday Night Live. They would take people, and for good reason. It was such a gifted cast. And so we went to see the show. And I think it was Bonnie Hunt, and who else? Who was the guy in the other?
It might have been Dan Castellaneta.
Dan Castellaneta, the voice
Yeah.
of Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
They came out and they started doing a sketch.
You and Gilbert should interview Dan. What have I said?
I'll wrap it up. I'll wrap it up. He gets sentimental about this, and I'm sorry to drag it out. But so we're watching the show, and Bonnie Hunt and Dan Castellaneta come out, and as I remember it, it was just this sketch about they come home, they've been on vacation, they open the refrigerator, and oh God, look, and somebody jumps out, and it's the coleslaw's alive. And you're like, and it was funny, but it was, you know, we're like, all right, not the. And then you hear in the audience,
Oh.
this is terrible.
You saw the terrorist scene. That was called Terrorist.
Terrorist.
Yeah.
That's just terrible. And they keep doing the scene, and people are like, shh. And I do something topical. And people are turning around going, and so my first experience of who has become a great friend of mine is being irritated because this man, and it just, which was the idea. That's just terrible. People are actually going, will you shut up? And then finally, Bonnie Hunt or somebody turns around and goes, sir, if you've got a problem, he goes, I have a problem. And he walks up on stage, and what happened then?
Okay. This it was a really good scene. It started in a dream I had that I was backstage at Second City, because I was a member of Second City, and I was being terrorized by the Hells Angels and pushed in a locker by the Hells Angels. And all of a sudden, so I said, there has to be a scene about terrorism. So now I'm going to explain the scene. Was two people were doing an innocuous scene at the beach, on the beach, and it was just a horrible scene. And I'm under a table, and I'm going, this is shit, this is terrible. And the audience is and I was a heckler, and nobody knew that it was me. Now, the minute I stand up and I have a kind face and a funny face, they know immediately that it is. So I play it, and that's when terrorism first started. It was, it really was. But I mean, when not just hijacking planes, but there was terrorism. So it was about 82, 83, and I became a terrorist in the audience, but a terrorist being a heckler. So that's what it was. One night, though, a guy was so convinced that he turned around and he punched me in the stomach.
Hilarious.
Talk about improvising, because I had to catch my breath. But that was it. And then it escalates to a woman who goes, no, we don't want something serious. We want something funny. This is very difficult to explain, but that's when you first met me. I was a heckler. Okay. That's pretty neat. Okay. Well, our time is... But thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's relive the days at Second City.
Craig and I were talking about you last night on the phone.
Okay, why?
Because he was saying that, you know, he's a great comic actor. He's giving you shit about being a dramatic actor. But we both agreed that you're a wonderful dramatic actor.
Thank you.
I mean, no, I look at Bing Bong and Inside Out.
But that's not so
heartbreaking.
The thing is, and you'll know this too, is when you are working at a high-profile project, there are shareholders who must be aware that you are making them money. So if you're on a network TV show, you've got to be successful. If you're in a movie, you've got to do that. So you go on stage where there are no economic consequences. And so therefore, I get to be serious and dramatic on stage a lot, not as much in the movies. However, and this is a blatant plug, get ready. I'm on a show this fall, October 2nd, on CBS called East New York. I'm a fucking cop. I'm playing a cop. Bing Bong is a cop. It's outrageous. With this resume, this face at my age, I'd like it canceled in 8 episodes.
Are you like a rumpled plainclothes detective,
No!
like Columbo?
No!
Or so? I see.
I'm a cop. Let's move on. I'm a cop. I really am. I'm a cop. That's what I am.
Craig, we talked last night too. You wanted to tell the story of discovering the podcast, and
Yeah, but I don't want to do that anymore.
You don't want to do that?
I want to talk about his show, which is on CBS. It's a 9 o'clock show.
9 o'clock on Sunday
plays
nights,
a
Craig?
cop!
Is it 9 o'clock on Sunday night?
9 o'clock on Sunday
No, tell how you came on the...
No, tell me. What?
I'm tired.
Tell me.
Tell how
You go to sleep. I'm going to talk for a little bit. What did you put your head down? Put your head down.
You want to
Rest up
You
for
want
the
to talk
next-
about when you did the show, the first time?
Oh, that's right. This was, what year was that? 2014.
15.
All right. 2015. I smoked for 7 years, which was dumb. I started when I was 33, and they say you lose a year of your life, and I choose 2015. It just suckarooed for reasons that aren't worth going into. But one of the prizes I got, living through this year was I got heavy. I mean, it was like no man's an island, but I gave it a shot. And I'd blown up. I put on like 50 pounds. Actually, I sat down next to a girl that I was working with, who I'd known a long time, and I was like, "Do I look heavy?" She goes, and I was like, I got to lose some weight. How much do you think I should lose? And she said, well, 15 pounds. I said, 15 pounds. She goes, 50. And I was like, whoa, man, I was really like... And so I went down to this place in Florida. And I thought, well, Florida, that's great because it's the middle of the winter. And I went down, but it was like northern Florida, so it was like Dutchess County weather. It was like it didn't change. And it was raining and freezing cold. And I was like, this just sucks, man. Everything sucks. And you had only done like 2 episodes of the show, I think. And the first one was with Tom Leopold. Is he here tonight?
No.
Shit. Okay. Well, he's one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life, and he's a really, really funny man. About whom Christopher Guest has said he was born with an extra comedy gene.
That's right.
Very, very funny man. But there were only like 2 episodes, and he made me laugh so he could drop me whenever he wanted to. So I was there for 6 weeks at this place to lose weight, and I was miserable because they're like. Here's your breakfast. You know what goes good with this? And I would go, breakfast. It looks like we're flying over it. That's it. And I was miserable. And they would be, and then you were just like, and I lost. I did it. And I was very proud of myself, but it was really, really hard. And at night, I was going through this horrible thing. And I was trying to lose weight. Like, there was nothing good going on. I was like, I'm in Florida, and it's crazy cold. And I would listen to the podcast. I would listen to the one with Tom every night. And it just delighted me. And it was like listening to jazz. Like, it was the way I used to listen to, like, great, and I still do, listen to great comedy albums. I could watch, like, Richard Lewis over and over again. It doesn't even matter. It's just the rhythm of the thing. And that was what I had from the show. And I realized, well, this is a really great show. At that point, it was like, it's keeping me like off the ledge, but right now. And so I finally got back to New York, and Frank said, well, why don't you come on the show? And I was like, oh, okay, but you should know.
How did you know Frank? How did you talk to Frank?
I met him through Drew Friedman.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Yeah. Well, Drew Friedman hasn't been mentioned yet, so don't look at me like that.
Okay, you know who else hasn't been mentioned? My dentist, Dr. Dean Sheriff. Also, can we please memorialize the Queen? Wasn't she a great queen, ladies and gentlemen? Great queen. The New York Post said the guy was very irate because they didn't mention the Queen on the Emmys, and I was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? That's payback because the Olivier Awards never mentioned the top NFL picks, not once. So that's us. Just we're kicking back. Okay.
So the podcast got you.
You're gonna get me.
Yeah,
he's gonna. Okay. Oh, are you trying to get me back on track? Jesus. So I get back to New York. He says, "Come on, do the show." I said, "Well, there's this one thing. It's a very funny show, and I haven't said anything funny in about 6 months." But I walked into the room, and I was looking for. I had met Gilbert once, and he was very funny. A very peculiar evening, but he was very, very funny. And I sat down, and the minute I sat down, I just felt like, oh my God, I'm so comfortable. And not in an arrogant way. I just thought, I'm first of all, Frank, I had known Frank for a little bit, and he's the TWA pilot of conversation. I mean, if you're a fan of the show, you know what I'm talking about. He is. It's just like, yeah, this is Jack, Texas, and we are, we're going to be flying into some turbulent weather. You're going to hear the turbines screaming, and don't worry about it. We're going to get up above these clouds. And anyway, so because the turbulence, of course, was the man who was the namesake of the show, Gilbert, and it was still sort of I didn't know who I'd be in conversation with this guy, but as soon as I sat down, I realized, oh, I'm in the passenger seat of a Ferrari. Gilbert is. He's incredibly entertaining to watch, and I'd only seen him in that way, like anybody else. But to sit down and realize, oh, we're going to have an exchange, I just felt like I'm on the court with like Rod Laver. The guy you couldn't lose him, and he was right with you, and I just loved that. And he would not. I mean, he was fearless, and I got to tell you, I walked out of that hour or so, and I just felt so lifted, and it was an incredible experience. And so my connection to the show I can't shake that feeling.
Thank you. Well, we get a lot of that from people.
Yes.
They got them through difficult times.
And I called you the Australian sheepdog of the show. As it's, come on, okay, over this way, okay, move it over this way, move it out. And when you fail, makes me laugh so hard. Because when Artie Lang and Gilbert were going off together, on one of the great episodes.
I was hopeless.
And you're trying to bring it back, and everybody's sitting going, shut the fuck up, Frank. It killed me. And it was awful. You were the physics teacher. You were awful. But you really do make this broadcast as well as Gilbert making the broadcast. It's astounding that yin and yang met and became such a whole. It's unbelievable.
And I'm thank you. I'm just going to say really, really quickly, wouldn't you love to listen to this man do his own show?
Yes.
Because he's considering it, and there are other people who are interested, and I think you should let people know because he's a great broadcaster.
Thank you, Tom.
I've done enough interviews, I'm sure you have too, someone who can set you at ease, and the research I've never spoken
Unbelievable.
to
Thank you.
anybody who's
Stupid.
Pointless, really.
I didn't know I had an extra nipple. I am so happy to have met you.
I've been called a great broadcaster and a border collie in the same evening.
Cavett.
Thank you.
You're
Snyder. That's,
And
we
a
need
great-
great broadcasters. Somebody who just interviews and is funny and gets it, and you are so well researched. I learned things about people I thought I knew up and down. And I never, ever didn't learn something about the people.
You know what? Fuck Gilbert Gottfried.
Good night.
Mr. Bierko, would you like to sing something for us?
All right. Yeah, let me have some water because that's vodka. 18 years for the compliment. I don't know if I have a voice now.
What do you say, pal?
Yeah. I'm going to... What do I do? Oh, there's the thing. I'm going to put these... Hold that.
It's a little tribute to Gilbert.
This is a little tribute to Gilbert. I'm putting these down here because... Can you move your bag for just a second? Where did you get that? Where?
Can this be cut for the podcast?
Yeah, we'll cut it. We'll cut it.
Can this be cut?
This would be a good place to put a commercial. Okay. Hey, I'm...
Did you notice what the bag is?
He's got an orange wedge bag.
It's an orange wedge.
Yeah.
Ah.
By the way, this all reminds me of two rules of show business. Actually, a third that they tell you once you get into SAG and you qualify for insurance. There's a secret third. I'll tell you what it is. Right? Never. The obvious ones: never perform with children, never perform with animals, never perform anything with Richard Kind upstage. So I'm not pretending for a moment that anyone is going to listen to or experience this song on any level. So that's coming. Frank asked me if I wanted to participate this evening. I said, of course, and I didn't know what I would do. I was seriously considering coming out here and maybe telling the Aristocrats joke, which would have been a horrible idea, and I'm glad I'm not. And yet this family walks into an agency. No, and I just thought, what do I want to do? I was like, I don't want to, yeah, whatever. And I thought of Max and Lily, Gilbert's children.
Where are Max and Lily?
Where are they?
Right here. Stand up.
Yay!
Okay. Should have called in early for seats, huh? Okay. Well, everybody else got in. You should have subscribed. You really should have subscribed. And I thought, this was all like in a second. I thought, what am I going to do? And I had just done this show called Girl from the North Country, and it was, we finished, yeah, so thank you. It was great. It was a terrific show, and I didn't sing this song. Somebody else did. Mayor Winningham did. It's a Bob Dylan song, and I'm not going to do a lot of it because each song is like the Torah. It's so long, but I'm just a bit of it because this was the first thing I thought of, and Frank said, "Oh, you old softy," put the phone down, and I went, "Oh, Jesus, I'm going to sing this song," and but it seemed perfect, and not just because it was what I imagined in the time that I got to spend with Gilbert. By the way, you know, I used to live 2 blocks away from him, and I would walk my dog past their house, and sometimes I'd run into Gilbert, and we'd be, you know, obtuse and make each other laugh. But then we started walking with each other, and Dara had actually said to me, "Will you, next time you walk, Boo, will you knock on the door and take my husband for a walk, please?" And I said, "Sure." She goes, "I'm raising 3 children. Will you take one of them? Will you take one of them for a walk?" And I did. We went for a handful of walks, but those walks in Chelsea, we'd walk around the block, and he'd just say, "You want to go one more?" I'd say, "Sure, Gilbert." And there was, you know, when you bumping into him on the street and even doing the show, it was fun because you're playing tennis with someone who's just a champion, and iconoclast, really. I think he's a real artist, a genuine artist. And for me, the difference between an artist and someone who has an occupation is someone who has an occupation shows up to work every day, does their job, and comes home. And an artist does their work every day, works hard, comes home, but they love what they do so much that they can't not go to the edge of who they are, look over the abyss, and report back to the rest of us. I think if you're a dancer, you're an actor, you're a writer, you're a painter, that's what we respond to. There was something about Gilbert in that sound and in his reaction, in the material, the things that he was obsessed with talking about. It was a joyful discomfort, but you slowly became accustomed to it, and you realize, I'm learning a different language. This guy's showing me who he is. And I guess in some way I'm loving it so much because I'm learning a lot about who I am in a way that I can't articulate. And I feel that way about certain people in my life. I mentioned Sally before. She's been a friend for so long, and it's kind of a North Star in my life. Richard is as much as I love to have fun with him, he's been a terrific friend to me in ways I can't, that are not at all funny. They're just, I'm fortunate. Frank, too, to include me in this group. I've had such a good time. And so I want to dedicate this song to all of these people, certainly to Max and Lily. And I imagine this is something that you know, but wherever Gilbert is, if you'd like to come down and sing through me, please don't. Because I have enough trouble with pitch, and I sometimes go under the pitch. Some people go over the pitch, and I hope it goes well. Listen, I've never met anybody who's pitch adjacent. It's like you invented a whole different
pitch adjacent.
The sound was. You had me sing on the show, and don't worry, the song's coming. I have to talk before I sing, or I won't be able to do it. I sang. What was it? Luck Be a Lady, because I'd done Guys and Dolls. Oh, bulletproof. We ran. My niece was doing the show. Her production ran 2 weeks longer. She was doing it in high school, but it didn't go well. But I sang Luck Be a Lady on the show, and Gilbert sang with me. And the minute he came in, I was trying to figure out what was that sound. Because it was terrible. I mean, this is an evening we want to remember. This is a sweet man, but that was a terrible sound that I will not miss. And it was sort of like I started singing a song, and I'm not the best, but I knew the song, and then all of a sudden, it just sounded like somebody threw a chimpanzee out of an airplane, and so there's no way to bring it back to this song, so I'm just gonna. May God bless you, keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others, let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars, climb on every rung, and may you stay forever young. Forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and the light surrounding you. May you build a ladder to the stars, climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. Forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young. And it goes like this. forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young.
Very good. You collected the words because you're singing at in 2 weeks at the Queen's Memorial, aren't you?
Oh, that's right. No, I'm doing modern Major General.
The waterworks, Craig, the waterworks. Thank you. We are going to keep this train a-rolling. We have a surprise booking for you guys. Somebody who was not in the ads or on the poster. This is a special podcast guest who avoided us for years. And he was afraid of Gilbert, apparently. And he's another Renaissance man. He's an actor, a singer, a recording artist, a songwriter, a talk show host, a variety show performer, a game show host. He hosted The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson 87 times.
Mr. John Davidson.
Unbelievable. What do you want? You want down there? What do you want to sing?
Great. It was true. I was afraid of him. I turned out, I said, Dara called me and said, would you do Gilbert's show? I said, he's going to bite me. He's going to just chew me out. I am such a fan, but I was afraid. So I did this song on the show, and Gil said, I love that song because it's corny, and there's a corny part of it, right? The corny part of me, anyway. Down through the ages, wise men and sages, searching for knowledge, they plundered. Now I've roamed and I've combed through the great ancient tomes. Still late at night, I wonder, why do men have nipples? How come Tarzan never had a beard? Why do bars have parking lots when I can't drink and drive? Am I the only one who finds this weird? Why did Adam and Eve have navels? If your doctor's practicing, is he practicing on you? Why wash my bath towels? I'm clean when I use them. What are training bras? Training them to Why did kamikazes wear helmets? Why is a boxing ring square? How will I know when my invisible ink runs out? Why isn't there mouse-flavored cat food in stores everywhere? Why are there braille dots on drive-up ATMs? You're gonna go to the bank in the morning and check that out, aren't you? They're there. Why are there braille dots on drive-up ATMs? Is the alphabet in that order just because of the song? Why did Superman wear his underpants on the outside? And why have you let this song go on this long? That's all there is to the song.
Everybody move down.
Do I?
Move down. Come on over here.
We're moving down.
I was counting.
Come on down, John.
Thank you all for that nice welcome. I've never been welcomed by young people as much as this. You're my audience out there, yeah. Yeah, I turned 80 in December. I said to a friend of mine, do you think I look 80? And she said, no. You used to, but not anymore. It was just like a year ago when girls would write into my television show and say, does John Davidson wear boxers or briefs? You know? Now I just say, well, it depends. Forget it. I'm doing the show.
Have a seat. Oh, John.
You seem...
John.
You got me into this.
I did get you into
No,
this.
Dara
That's
said
right.
you got to do the show. Thanks, Dara.
Yeah. John, we called John. I thought you were living on a boat. That's what.
Yeah, they went out in Mexico, but now I have a little music venue in Sandwich, New Hampshire.
This is the fastest anyone's ever gotten to a plug, John.
Where I sing and I tell jokes, and because of Gilbert, he sends me jokes. Well, not anymore, not quite so much. But he says, because I say, well, I sing, and then I tell jokes. And he said, okay, so this guy is diagnosed by his doctor. He says that you got to go home and soak in a bathtub full of milk for this skin thing you have, a bathtub full of milk. And the guy goes home, calls the local dairy, and says, I want to buy a bathtub full of milk. And the guy says, do you want it pasteurized? And he said, no, just up to my neck would be fine. Gilbert said that was funny. I got an uncle who's a veterinarian and a taxidermist. Above his door it says, no matter what happens, you get your dog back. Gilbert told me that was funny. What is it, Frank?
What were you so afraid of that you wouldn't come on the show?
Because
Dara
he
begged
talks
you
like
for
this all the time. Would you be afraid of somebody like that? But the truth is, he just was the sweetest guy, and knew that I was in my own little bubble, and you know, I had never met anybody like that. I guess I worked with Paul Lynde on the Hollywood Squares.
Man worked with Paul Lynde. You avoided Paul Lynde. You steered clear of Paul
Well,
Lynde.
he didn't like me or Karen Valentine. Yeah, I don't know what.
How
do you feel about the Jews?
Wow.
He did everything he could to put me on.
Did Karen Valentine not like you, or did he not like you and Karen Valentine?
We were just too good, too nice, seemingly wholesome and clean and stuff. He would say really gross things to Karen Valentine. I mean, about her body parts and stuff.
Like, for example, what did he say about Karen Valentine?
We're going to get you canceled somehow.
So,
get him canceled.
One of the mistakes of my career, and I've made many, was that I had a manager talk me into doing a centerfold for Cosmopolitan magazine. It was not naked. I was wearing a towel. I was the second to Burt Reynolds, and I should never have done it. But I had a manager that said, "This is going to be good for you." And they made me Mr. February, which I thought, which is the shortest month. But so. Are you writing these down? So I took the picture back to Hollywood Squares. And I showed it to Paul Lynde, and Paul Lynde takes one look at my half-naked picture, and he says, well, you should have been the ambassador to underdeveloped countries. He didn't like me very much. Say something, Frank.
You knew. Just looking for an opening. You are our only guest out of 420 guests who met Elvis and Walt Disney.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you knew Uncle Walt.
I thought, I made Disney. You remember Mary Poppins in '62? I was, yeah. By the way, I met the Sherman brothers.
Oh, wow.
And they, who wrote Mary Poppins and Happiest Millionaire and Family Band. And Sherman brothers said, let us tell you a story about trying to, and then I'll get to Walt. And they said we were having trouble getting all the music for Mary Poppins, and we just said we needed one last song. So they said, let's go out to the park there in Anaheim, Disneyland, and let's sit there and look at the people. Maybe we'll get some inspiration for how to get this last song. So they're sitting there, and coming down Main Street is Mahatma Gandhi, the great spiritual leader of India.
Wow. Wow.
Shut up! Here comes Mahatma Gandhi.
I loved him on Hollywood Squares.
And
He was great. The best.
And Mahatma Gandhi's got his staff, you know, and his thing is over his shoulders, and of course he's not wearing any shoes, and so the bottom of his feet are like rock hard. And he was very faint, very frail, because he was always fasting, not eating enough, very frail. And then he was the spiritual leader, of course, of India, so he had sort of an aura about him, but his breath was terrible because he ate grubs and worms and weird things like that, right? All right. So Richard Sherman turns to Bob and says, there's our song. There's a supercalifragilistic hexbihalitosis. Supercalifragilistic hexbihalitosis. Sing it out. Every know the sound of it is something quite atrocious. Supercalifragilistic hexbihalitosis. I'm not funny like these, so I have to do jokes. See, I have to do. No.
How long have you been sitting on that one?
A long time.
I can't believe I went on that ride.
Yeah, I did. I met Walt Disney, and because Happiest Millionaire, which is the one that I did.
Yeah.
And was the last film that Walt, and he insisted that we call him Walt. I said, I can't call you Walt. And he called me John. I mean, every time he came to the, hi, John. Hi, Walt. You know, right? And just
Did you have to call Albert Spears Mr. Spears? I had heard that you had to call him Mr. Spears. He was not a casual.
Oh, wow.
And who was the other person you asked me about?
Elvis.
Elvis. I met Elvis twice. I went backstage to see him at the Hilton in Vegas. And he introduced me in his show. He introduced me in the audience, Elvis, and the dressing room was filled with women. And his dad, Elvis's dad, was there. And then he came to see me at the Riviera and came backstage, and he was very kind of nervous. And I thought, I've twice within a year and a half. And he said, I have to pee so bad. So he just wanted to pee in my John.
That's beautiful.
But he was a sweet guy.
You described yourself when you finally got you on the podcast after you avoided us for almost a decade.
Yes.
And you described yourself as a show business Swiss Army knife, which I found fascinating.
Yeah, I had an early manager who saw me in a Broadway show in '64 and signed me to
Banner.
Bob Banner.
Yeah. And what was the show?
It was called Foxy with Bert Lahr.
Oh, wow.
Bert
You
Lahr.
don't remember.
No. I did Sly Fox, the straight play on Broadway. That was the musical version of Bob Pony.
Do you think I don't know that, Richard?
Okay.
Do you think you're the smartest person in the room? You just have an intelligent-looking face.
All right, zero. X gets the square.
I'm
okay.
cute. You look
The only person in the
X gets the square.
That's what it was. And it's based on Val Pony.
I know.
Yeah. So he came to see me and he signed me to a 5-year. And he said, he said, what do you want to do with your career? I said, I want to be on Broadway. I want to be. Who's the guy that then did the cop shows?
Jack Webb.
Miller.
Jack Webb.
Jack Webb.
No, but he
Stephen
was
Cannell.
He was on Broadway first. He was
Martin Milner.
El Gallo originally. Yeah.
Oh, Frank Orbach. Jerry Orbach.
Jerry Orbach. I wanted to be Jerry Orbach. I wanted to be Goulet. That was about 61, 62 is when Goulet had just had Camelot and all. If ever, And he said, you don't want to be just a spear. You want to be a pitchfork. In other words, instead of just being a knife, be a Swiss Army knife. Be a jack of all trades. Try to be like Craig Bierko if you can.
I wasn't even born yet. No, I've been born that year, so.
And so I fashioned my career that way. So it's been very. And then my first role in a show was playing Curly in Oklahoma at the New York City Center.
Very good. John, nobody.
Who was your Laurie? Who was your Laurie? Do you remember?
Laurie was Susan Watson. Karen Morrow was Ado Annie.
Wow. Okay.
And the peddler was, oh man. I was going to say Jules Munchkin, but
Wow.
I'm
Munchkin?
not
Jules Munchkin?
even sure that I can't.
And who was Ann Eller? Do you remember? Margaret Hamilton?
Margaret Hamilton. Thank you, Richard.
I saw Margaret Hamilton as Ann Eller, and
Of course you did.
Okay.
But we were at the New York City Center. It was not, I don't remember. I'm 80 years old.
We established that.
Well, Margaret Hamilton doesn't remember you. She's dead.
I know she's dead.
And X gets the corner square.
What was that? And I don't want to give the punchline away. What was that famous moment when you were on Hollywood Squares? There was a dirty joke. There was a dirty reference.
Frank.
Peter Marshall. You weren't hosting Squares.
So I was guesting with Peter.
You know the one I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Peter Marshall was the first host, and I was guesting, sitting next to Karen Valentine and Paul Lynn in the center. And then Tom Bergeron was the third host, but on the first thing. So Peter says to me, Japanese women shave some part of their body the night before their wedding.
That's the one.
And it just came into my mind. And I said, Peter, on the whole, and they wouldn't put it on the air.
You can see it on YouTube. And Peter's reaction. Peter's still with us at 97 or 96.
Yeah. Hey, Peter.
Bless his heart. Another wonderful podcast guest. Are you finally happy you came and did the show because you bonded with Gil and you made a friend?
He has brought me people that come to. I have this club in Sandwich, New Hampshire, and people. Did I mention the club?
Second plug.
And I have young people coming to see me because of Gilbert's saying he's okay. He's okay. He's really not that square.
Hey, John, you told me it's called the Sandwich Cafe, right? Is it called the Sandwich Cafe?
Club Sandwich.
Club Sandwich.
Yeah.
And what night do the Jews come? Because I wanted to come. What night did you say the Jews were welcome to come?
Jews come?
We don't allow Jews in
Okay,
Club
I was wrong. Okay.
Get your own club. Can't a wasp have a club?
Oh, God.
Anyway, so thank you, young people, for listening to Gilbert.
Thank you for doing this, John.
Don't you have... Is that about all the time?
Well...
We'll be right back.
A man...
Go ahead.
I would think a man who hosted The Tonight Show 87 times knows the...
You've done enough of that. Now, who's the next performer, Frank?
You want to introduce...
What do we have for them, Frank?
I'm changing the rundown. Where's the booth? Where's Dan? I'm changing the rundown to keep the show moving along.
You mean it wasn't moving?
It's moving on. Very well. What? This is my intro. What would a special GGACP episode be without this man of many talents? Yet another Tony nominee. We are filthy with Tony nominees and Tony winners tonight. Well, Rupert.
You want to see a winner, you go see Smartless. This show, you get nominee.
Actually, Dr. Holmes has 2 Tonys. Oh, that's right. Yeah. You know this man. He was nominated for Tony for his brilliant one-man show, Laugh Whore. You know him from dozens of television appearances and stage appearances and the occasional big screen appearance, of course, from Sex and the City. You've all come to love him as the star of our annual Christmas show. We did 6. And he is the only man in the world who ever accused Frosty the Snowman of being a pedophile. The one, the only, Mario Cantu.
What do I do?
We have Mario.
Wow. I have to sit here.
Yes, you do.
Thank you. Yeah, that was great. Thanks for making me wait backstage. It's fucking 4 in the morning. What the fuck? I binged the second season of Bridgerton and it sucked. There was no sex. What the fuck happened?
Yeah, but come on, John Davidson.
Well, not him. We had to sit through Elaine May and Mike Nichols' one-man fucking show from 1952. Jesus Christ. How long was that? Oh, I was like, get me out of here! And I don't drink before I go on stage, and this place is riddled with wine, so I did not touch anything.
It's a winery.
Yeah, I know yes, it's the City Winery. Oh, hello, band. Hit it.
It's the band.
Yeah, it's the band. I'm so happy to be here. And I finally met John Davidson, which I was very excited about.
He was very excited to meet John.
Yeah. Forget it. He told me I looked like Leslie Ann Warren. I was very excited. Are we dancing? Are we really here? Oh my God, my favorite bomb of a musical, The Happiest Millionaire. I am obsessed with that show. It's my favorite. It's a great musical, by the way. It just,
What are we talking about? The Happiest
Yes,
Millionaire?
it's the greatest.
They don't know it. They don't know it.
You know The Happiest Millionaire. You're all a bunch of old fucks. Don't try it. You'll be frozen with Walt in years to come. It's happening. It's coming soon.
You want to sing a couple of bars of
No,
Detroit?
let's
with
just move on. I already did.
Okay.
Detroit, that's Detroit. Shut up.
I don't do it in that key.
No, I know. That's why I said to him, he's a baritone and I'm a tenor. I'm a tenor. I'm like Lauren Bacall. I'm a bass. Ha ha. That's right. I did applause and I sang. Applause. Ha ha. That's right, and I advertised Fancy Feast. I love cat food. Fancy Feast. Your cat's gonna love it, and so will your pussy. Ha ha. Bogey wasn't an alcoholic. He just loved to drink. Ha ha. Oh, fabulous. Harry Guardino. I fucked all my leading men, every one of them.
Guardino. I wasn't expecting a Harry Guardino
I know. Well,
reference
yeah.
tonight.
She said, I said to her, I saw you in Woman of the Year. I used to sit at her feet and ask her questions. Because when you're with somebody of that, of reverence,
sure.
like I asked him a lot of questions tonight. That's what you do. You know, as Jane Fonda said, it is much better to be interested than interesting. And I am interested.
Well, you're into the history of show
Oh, I
business.
certainly am.
It's one of the reasons you were such a wonderful guest on our show.
Well,
you share our reverence and our respect for the people who came before.
I do.
And you got to meet so many of your heroes.
I did.
Lauren Bacall.
I used to sit at her feet at every Christmas party, and I would ask her questions. I mean, I did. That's what you do. You ask questions. You ask questions.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. What do you got for me?
Well.
What's on your magical blue card? Because I'm half asleep. Hurry the fuck up. Detroit, that's Detroit.
I was going to pay you a compliment.
What? Oh, you can.
You contributed in your 6 Christmas episodes and your 1 non-Christmas episode, arguably the single greatest, most memorable moment in the show's history, and that was your duet with Gilbert.
Yeah. Oh.
Of "Baby It's Cold Outside."
Yeah.
With Gilbert as Tony Curtis, and you doing post-stroke Betty Davis.
Oh, yes. Working with Gilbert Gottfried was totally and utterly impossible. He could not keep on the melody. He could not scan the lyrics to the melody. He would come in off the beat. He was wretched. Totally and worse than Faye Dunaway. I have never worked with anybody more difficult in my life. Faye Dunaway. I worked with her in a TV movie. called Amy Simple McPherson. You know, the evangelist, she was Amy and I was her mother. Well, day 3. There we are in a large tent, thousands of extras. I'm there. We are waiting for Miss Dunaway. Waiting. Thousands of extras sitting there with their boxed lunches. I had to keep entertaining the troops. I sang, I've written a letter to Daddy 4 goddamn times. I've written a letter to Daddy. And I actually had to do that either too young or too old just to stretch for time. It is true.
Oh. Wow.
Well, you know, she was the greatest, you know.
You were very patient with Gilbert in all of the duets. He could never stay in the pocket.
And he was like Dean Martin. He never came to rehearsal. It was wretched.
Yeah.
No, I had so much fun with him.
We did that 12 Days of Christmas, which was my wife Genevieve's idea. Where's Genevieve? She's right
Oh,
there.
yeah, that was the...
And you doing Lauren Bacall and Liza and Carol Channing.
Oh, my God, it's Liza. John Davidson is such a... One time, I have to tell you this funny story, you guys. I was recently doing a show in Las Vegas at Caesar's Palace. You played Caesar's, didn't you? And I was with John, and he was doing the 7:30 show, and I was doing the 11. And I'm in the commissary in between shows, and John's there, and I'm at Caesar's, and I'm sitting there eating a Caesar's salad. So I'm sitting at Caesar's, eating a Caesar's, and my waiter comes over, and he's got a tag on, and his name is Caesar. I couldn't believe it. And his hairdo is a Caesar's. I said, I can't believe I'm sitting at Caesar's, eating a Caesar, being waited on by a guy named Caesar who has a Caesar. It was so funny. So wait, no, you guys, there's more. So listen, seriously, listen. No, listen. Okay. So anyway, in the middle of my meal, and John can attest to this because he was right there. John, I'm just sitting there, and all of a sudden, I started to shake, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm having a seizure!" And Caesar came over to me, my waiter, and he gave me the Heimlich, and a little crouton came flying out, and it was all sparkly and sequenced, and it flew across the commissary ceiling, and I made a wish. That was it.
Wow.
You're really not even setting me up. I'm just fucking.
I'm not.
It's hard. You just say the name and I go. It's horrifying.
Here's a cheesy, obvious setup. The
What?
Poseidon Adventure is turning 50 this year.
What?
It's turning 50.
I work with Jack Alverson in that picture. I used to be thin. I used to look like Marilyn. I used to look like Marilyn Monroe. I had Thanksgiving with Al Pacino and Bobby De Niro. And I got there 10 minutes late. They ate all the fucking turkey. I said, "What'd you do with the turkey?" They ate. I fucked all my leading men, too.
Thank you, Shelley.
You're welcome.
And speaking of movies.
What? It's 50 years.
These are the
I can swim. I got this medal. I can swim. I can swim. I'm Mrs. Peter Pan. I'm not, but I can swim.
Oh, God.
I can swim. Give this to the kids, Manny. I was in Lolita.
Yes, I know.
James Mason didn't want to fuck me. He wanted to fuck my daughter, that piece of shit.
Speaking of movies,
Yeah, well,
you are going to be a guest of our friend Ben Mankiewicz,
Yeah,
our mutual
my
friend
lover,
Ben
Ben
Mankiewicz,
Mankiewicz,
on
yes.
TCM
Yeah.
Essentials this Halloween, the
we
month
did-
of October.
We did it last October too. We did 5 Sundays, and this year we're doing 5 Mondays because Halloween. I love doing that. I live for that. I'll tell you, like, this has been a great 2 years, and I was in the middle of filming and Just Like That, which is very, very exciting because it's brought my career back, which is nice. But that was more exciting. I finished a scene. I got in my car. I went to the airport. I flew down to Atlanta. We filmed it the next day. We did like 20 friggin' segments. But I was so high afterwards because I live for that station's on 24/7. TCM. It's 24/7. I mean,
You were on the whole month of October.
Oh,
Just
yes. I
picking
wormed
horror
my
films.
way in there like a fucking dirty whore. I like that Bang Mankiewicz. I fucked his great-grand Uncle Joe. I fucked Joe Mankiewicz. He fucked everybody. Linda Darnell.
Wow.
He fucked Linda Darnell.
Linda Darnell.
I was next in line. Number 68. I had to take a number. What?
What?
What? What?
Do you have a favorite memory of doing the show, or a favorite memory of Gil?
Well, I don't think there's a favorite. I guess that duet, obviously, but also just seeing him laugh like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Was-
It brought me great joy to see him
brought
laugh
me great
that way.
joy because-
Nobody ever laughed like him.
I mean, you know, and I used to see him in the Chelsea neighborhood too, walking down the street, and at first it was like, who's this fucking homeless guy? And then it was him. I was like, Gil, what is with that fucking puffy jacket you're wearing? It's July.
He loved you. He loved you,
I
man.
loved him. I miss him a lot. I did.
We made some magic on that show.
We did.
We did. Now, Miss Garland.
Hello. Hello, everybody.
It is your centenary. Am I saying that word correctly? It is your 100th year.
100 years. It's 100 years, yes.
Yes.
My 100, is it my birthday or am I?
I believe you were born in June of 22.
Yeah, and I'm 100 years old. Isn't that marvelous?
New mic.
Oh, look at you. You look like a negative of Prince Valiant. Isn't he marvelous? He's so handsome. Isn't he marvelous? You do. He does. Isn't he so marvelous? He looks like one of the great stars of yesteryear. Like Errol Flynn just popped one out of his backside. Well,
It is. I said your 100th year.
yes, it is my 100 years.
And you prepared a tribute.
I told. Look at I'm double fisting, and I've done that quite a few nights. With many people. With Elaine Stritch, I did it with Elaine Stritch. Elaine and I drank and drank. We were out for hours, and one night I finally said to her, Elaine, I never thought I'd say this, but good night. Actually, Elaine told that story in her show, and I thought I'd just repeat it. But she's dead, so she can't sue me. So.
Did you have Ms. Garland? Did you have a number
I did.
in honor of
well, you know,
Gilbert?
I sang this for Gilbert the last time we performed together.
You did.
Because I said to him, I'm going to outlive you, and I'm going to sing this at your funeral, and you won't hear it, so I want to sing it for you. And I did. And I didn't sing it at his funeral because everyone talks so fucking long. So I'd like to sing it again for him.
Now's the time, my
All
friend.
right. Should I switch? Oh, my.
Yeah.
Although I missed the chord. The night is bitter. The stars have lost their glitter. The wind grows colder. And suddenly you're older. And all because of the man that got away. No more his eager call. The writings on the wall. The dreams you've dreamed have all gone astray. The man that won you has run off and undone you. That great beginning has seen a final inning. Don't know what happened. It's all a crazy game. No more that old-time thrill, for you've been through the mill, and never a new love will be the same. Good riddance, goodbye. Every trick of his you're on to, but fools will be fools. And where's he gone to? The road gets rougher, it's lonelier and tougher. With hope he'll turn up. Tomorrow he may burn up. There's just no let up. The livelong night and day. Ever since this world began, there is nothing sadder than a one-man woman looking for the man that God away. The man that God away. Oh my, filming me from behind. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
I'm the only guest who hasn't sung, and as a gift, I would like to not sing.
Rich, do you want to tell your Gandhi story?
Rich, you have a Gandhi story? Do you?
He got a Gandhi story.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
We're at craft service.
Was it a dinner or a fast?
Let me thank a few people before we move on to our last two surprises. It takes a village. You've heard me say it on the podcast many times. There are people in the audience I want to shout out, and I want them to stand up and take a quick bow. The people who've been indispensable. 8 years. I've lost count. I think it's 600 and something shows. Josh, what was the number? Is it over 700? Jesus, no wonder I'm tired. Over 700 shows. There were a lot of people who helped, and I want to point them out. Josh, we'll start with Josh Chambers, our Twitter guru. Josh, everything you read on Twitter, And where's Michelle? Michelle Mantinen came all the way from San Francisco. Runs our Facebook. She's done so much for the show. I'm going to stand for this. Where's Greg Pear? Greg is our guru from the beginning, our Twitter guy, our Twitter master, our social media master, our editor, all of these people. Where is that wonderful rabbi? Rabbi David Komarovsky, who ran the trivia nights and built the trivia nights and was so wonderful and masterful in presiding over Gilbert's service. And one of many new friends I've made in my life. John Seals in Minnesota, who can't be here tonight, but we're putting him on this and on the video, who's run our website and built it. Our stage manager, Paul Terrasio. Paul, where are you? There's Paul, who's done so much. Let me shout out an engineer who's sitting right here, Frankie Verderosa. Was involved for the longest time and a big part of the show, along with Paul Rayburn, who could not be here tonight and must be Munchausen by proxy. Also, the late great Mike McPadden, who ran the camera. I hope the camera's picking it up. Indispensable photographer David Simon, right here. Wonderful job with the show. Photographed so many shows, captured so many great moments. Where is Eric Kornman, our other super photographer? Shutterbug, where are you? Where are you, Eric? Eric's been a great contributor. And last but never least, my wife, Genevieve. Who's done. Words cannot express how much she did for this show and to keep it on the track. Quickly, I want to introduce the band. On guitar, my old friend of what now, 40 years? And this show, one of the gifts of this show is it reunited me with some old friends, including Seth. We'd lost touch for about 20 years. Seth Saltzman.
Thank you, Seth, for every musical moment and keeping Gilbert on track to the best of your ability.
And let's say a couple of words about Why Hunger, an important organization that you work with. Yeah, you should be.
Why Hunger, an organization founded by Harry Chapin and Bill Ayers back in the 70s. Thank you. We have a lot of supporters, I know, in this room. Founded on the belief that everybody is entitled to food. Food is a human right. We have to get people fed. Check out whyhunger.org. We help people around the world. We're a grassroots organization. It's just a fantastic thing and more need than we've ever seen before. We thought it would be over by now. We thought it would be over, but it's not. And the pandemic certainly shone a light on hunger in America. So help out.
Bless you, buddy. You're doing important work. And of course, the leader of the amazing Colossal Orchestra, the man who invented Loser's Lounge down at Joe's Pub and has run many a sing-along and has been indispensable to the show. The entire band has. Joe McGinty. And I want to quickly shout out two guests. I think there are only two guests here. Oh, I forgot this man. My God, I'm staring right in the face. Who are you pointing to? Dino Proserpio. Stand up, Dino. Our Instagram master has done a lot for the show. And this man, I don't know how I missed your name on the card. During the pandemic, we had so many recording problems because people were trapped in their homes. We interviewed a lot of older people, maybe you noticed, who didn't know how to use computers or record themselves. He rescued dozens of episodes. He kept the show on the track. He created music for the show. He's done so much for the show, indispensable. I couldn't have made the last 100 shows without John Murray, this man right here. I love you, John. I love you and I thank you. We are grateful to all of these people who made this show what it was. And where is Michael Weber? Is he here? Where are you, Mike? Stand up and take a bow. A podcast guest, screenwriter, terrific Michael Weber, who wrote The Disaster Artist and 500 Days of Summer, and the very, very talented and ingenious graphic designer Chip Kidd is here someplace. Chip, take a bow. Did I get to everybody? I hope so. I hope I didn't leave anybody out. These people, and it's very touching that I made friends with these people at a point in my life where I thought I was too old to make friends. So it chokes me up. We have another special guest, a surprise. Where is he? Is he in the house or is he in the back? He's in the back. Thank you very much. He is another Tony winner. A winner.
He's the only winner.
And Rupert Holmes. I think you all know this man. He is an accomplished actor. He is a song and dance man. He is a producer, a director, an acting teacher. He is one of the most popular actors of his generation, one of the most versatile. He truly needs no introduction, but we're giving him one. Art Vandelay himself, Jason Alexander.
What a night. What a show. What a tribute. This is a real Joe Franklin show lineup of talent. It's just sitting there going, this is 700 shows. This is the representation of the whole. This is it. This is what we dredged up.
Well,
if you could see, I was sitting over there. The band is playing. Tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not doing a bit. I don't do bits. I'm looking at the band playing the songs. You know, musicians, they're so cool. They don't need the charts. We want to do key of F. We don't care. Key of A flat. Fine. These guys, all in glasses, going, I can't see. Is that a natural or a sharp? Is that an F or a G? I can't. Why? Leaning forward. I can't see shit. And these guys are going, Rupert's song. I don't know. Craig's song.
This is it,
Mario
buddy.
Cantone with his medley of Hollywood stars that have had strokes. That's fantastic.
Only do them at the end.
It's nicer because you can just gravel the voice. I mean, they're all the same. It's the same. Liza. Betty Davis. It's all the same fucking thing.
This is it.
What? I didn't know, Rupert. I didn't know. What do you want?
It's okay.
I did one episode at the end. At the end. Why am I here? What do you want? I came on. I did the show. Fuck off already, for God's sake.
This is the representation after
Look at
700
this.
shows. You know, Dick Van Dyke doesn't fly anymore. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, yes, he does.
How did you meet Gilbert? Do you remember interacting with him the first
I had
time?
no interactions with Gilbert. Gilbert. Who knew Gilbert? I tell you where I first saw Gilbert. I don't know if he did this thing a lot or a little, but he was at a club doing stand-up. And I'm not kidding. This was like the whole night. He came out, looked at the audience, and went, Tiffany is a slut. Tiffany is a slut! For 20 minutes, that's all he said. I'm not kidding. 20 minutes, that's all he said. Tiffany is a slut. The first 3 times you go, funny, funny. Then you're going, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
5 minutes in, you're going, really? Come on. And 10 minutes in, you can't breathe. It's so funny. And then it dies again, and then it comes back funnier than it ever was. Tiffany is a slut. That was my introduction to Gilbert.
Did you see him in clubs when he would sort of get the check spot and walk the crowd in the old days?
No, I never saw walking
the Larry
crowd.
David days?
I actually, the Larry David days. That was awesome. I saw Larry David in a club once. Larry David, I had never met Larry David. We were at the Improv on a Thursday night. I was with my brother. We went to the Improv, and they go, ladies and gentlemen, Larry David. And I think Larry had to do 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I remember this so clear. Never heard of a Larry David, didn't know what he was. He would pace the stage, and he'd go, I'm pretty comfortable. Pretty comfortable with you people. You people, such an endearing bonding. I'll tell you how comfortable I am. I'm thinking of using the to form of the verb instead of usted. And then went into a bit about it. And here was a segue without a segue. You know what I admired about Hitler? He didn't take any shit from the magicians. You go backstage. Oh, I like that trick you do. It's funny with the woman in the half. How you do that? Oh, mein Führer, it's magic. It's magic. Yeah. How you do that? You know. And that's the bit. Yeah. Within 3 minutes, I am not kidding, and forgive me, I don't like to use this word in mixed company, but within 3 minutes, he called the audience a bunch of ignorant cunts, threw down the mic, and left the stage.
That's it.
And I went, what the hell was that? And 4 years later, I was him. That's
there you go.
Right?
That's it.
Right. But no, I didn't know Gil when he was prowling.
Susie Essman said Larry would come out, he would look at the audience, and if he didn't like the looks of the audience,
right.
he would just go, no,
and
no. Leave. Not tonight.
I
in those days,
we did the improv together all the time.
Right.
I saw he would like gauge the crowd and then be like, I'm not doing this. We'd leave. He would just walk off. It was, but that's oh yeah. It turns. It turned. Turning.
Yep.
I have to ask you about working with a monkey because it's such a part of this show. And you're one of the few guests. The story that you told about Dunstan checks in.
Which one did I tell? The meeting him or the airplane?
The meeting. It was just sweet how you bonded
yes.
with the animal.
Oh, he was lovely.
Gilbert had a terrible fear of simians, which was a recurring motif on the show.
Yeah.
And when you did the show, you told us a very sweet story of bonding with this animal.
Bonding with the animal. So Sammy, the orangutan who played Dunstan, was a 6-year-old orangutan. Now, an orangutan has about 20 times the strength of any man, even Mario. And so they're strong. And before you meet this animal, because you're going to be working with this animal, they give you like a pamphlet of don't do this, don't look them in the eye, don't have food in your pocket, don't make an anti-Semitic remark, don't do it, right? You know, it's like thing after thing after thing. And you're going to walk into this room and you think you're going to meet King Kong, and you walk in and he's in a director's chair in a diaper. And he's adorable. He's an adorable little thing. And he sees me and he goes, and his trainer goes, oh, that's nice, that's sweet. He wants to give you a kiss. I go, oh all right, Ken. So I lean forward thinking, I'm going to get a peck on the cheek or whatever. And the orangutan mouth goes on my mouth and nose. And this is not a peck. This is a profound kiss. I'm tasting banana and, and I'm there for a second, like, okay, I'm good. I'm good. I can break this now. And I start to move back, and that hand goes, no, bitch. No, bitch. I will tell you when this relationship ends. And wow. And that was my introduction to Sammy. But he was remarkable. It was like working with a little kid, adorable. And, he worked with Faye, he worked with me, he worked with a little boy. And he treated each of us differently. He treated me with a star deference that I was, he went, oh, number 1 on the call sheet. I should be nice to that guy. But
terrific. It's a terrific little movie. It's a terrific little
it's a
kids
lovely
movie. Yeah.
Yes, a lovely, sweet film.
I saw Sammy in Chapter 2 with...
Lancelot Link?
With Marsha Mason?
Marsha Mason? No, not the movie. I saw it just theater. He's just doing theater now.
Yes.
Great.
Anita Gillette? Who was in it with him?
I had a reference and I forgot it. That's why I was
That's okay, fine.
Lucy Arnaz, no doubt.
Lucy Arnaz is always
right.
good.
Yeah.
Gino, do you have a question for this man?
I remember in the episode what Gilbert would always do. You are laughing, you're telling great stories, and he goes, a co-star of yours committed suicide.
Yeah, he was good at that. Oh, he was good at that.
Yeah.
He could bring the room down.
Yeah. He was known for a left turn.
You know who Ron Delsner is, the concert promoter?
Of course.
Yeah.
We had Ron Delsner on this story, and he had Beatles stories that nobody's ever heard.
Right.
And he's telling one Beatles story after another, and he's rolling. And it's that moment in the show where it finally, what you wait for, 20, 25 minutes into the show, it's really picking up steam. And Gilbert says, now, I understand you were trying to cull the deer population in the Hamptons.
Bob Urich. I saw him with Bob Urich.
Bob Urich. He had a way of taking the momentum of the show and throwing it in an entirely different direction. We had Peter Bogdanovich on the show, and I said, don't open with the Dorothy Stratton material.
Jesus.
Now, something you said, and I won't ask you a lot about Seinfeld, because what did you say? There is no day in your life that one person doesn't walk up to you and say something to you about the show, or
I don't know
bring
what
it
I
up
said. I don't know.
in
Nobody
some
cares.
in some sense.
Whatever I said it and I forgot it.
Well,
It's probably-
tell me the advice. Tell everybody the advice that William Shatner gave you, because I thought that was kind of touching.
Oh, you're into the sentimental shit with me.
Well, why
Okay.
not?
I became an actor because of Bill Shatner. I was a Star Trek nut, and when I was a kid, I just wanted to be the captain of the Enterprise. I thought that would be a great thing. So I knew nothing about acting, arguably still don't, but I everything I did was Bill Shatner. I did Oscar Madison in The Odd Couple as Bill Shatner. I actually got into college doing the opening monologue of Equus, never having an acting lesson.
I did the same fucking monologue.
Okay, with one.
I did
Shatner.
in.
I did Shatner with one.
As
particular-
Alan Strang or as the psychiatrist?
Well, you did. No, I was a psychiatrist.
Oh, okay.
The opening monologue is the
Oh,
psychiatrist.
yes, that's right.
And the guy I auditioned for had done Shakespeare with Shatner in Canada when they were young men, and he stood up and he went, I don't know if you can act at all, but that's the finest Bill Shatner impression. So my friends bought him for me for my 35th birthday because he can be bought. And I had never met him when we had lunch at the Aroma Cafe in Studio City. And it was a little weird at first, you know, and I asked him every Star Trek question, and he remembered nothing. I said, when you were doing the Horta, I don't know what a Horta. What, really? The creature that moves through solid rock. But we had a lovely conversation, and from out of nowhere, I don't know what made him think about this, but he went, listen, before I say goodbye, can I give you some advice? I said, sure. He said, you're 35? Yeah. He said, and you're in a big, big hit show. Big hit show. He said, yeah. So when I did Star Trek, I was in my 30s, and it wasn't a hit, but I was equated with the show permanently. And I resented it because I was a young man, I had great things left to do, and I wasn't Kirk, and I didn't want to be associated with this, and people would come up to him to say how much they loved the show and to have a moment with him about what Star Trek meant to them. And he said, I was an asshole. I was a jerk. I didn't treat them well. And he said, look, this may be the one big thing you do in your life, and I know it's coming early and you don't want to be tied to it, but most of us don't get one. You got one. So when people come up to you, just know that it is a part of their lives in ways you cannot imagine. And it turned out to be true because I'm sure you guys must know. You do a thing, you put it out there. It was just a job. You just did your job. But I meet people every week, I swear to you, who tell me about dark times they were going through. Either they lost somebody dear to them, or they were ill, or they were out of work, or they were serving overseas. And they say, I was in a very bad place, and I would put your show on, and we would laugh, and my humanity would come back, and you guys got me through. And Bill always said, that is going to be the experience for people. So when they come to you and they say, hey man, I love your show, love them back. No matter what you feel about it, no matter what you may think about it, love them back. You gave them a gift. And it's a gift that you can only give because someone gave one to you.
Lovely.
It was great advice. It was great advice.
Lovely.
But it took him much longer to tell that story.
It took much longer to heed his own advice.
Of course. Well, yes,
Yeah.
and he'll be the first to admit
Yeah,
that.
I
too.
know.
Yeah.
I know.
Anybody else on this illustrious panel have something they want to ask Jason before we...
Oh, now it is the Joe Franklin show.
I have a
Liza
question.
Minnelli, you saw
Well,
Jason Alexander and they're playing our song. What did you think?
What was your experience like? They won't give. I care. Because you're a magnificent Broadway actor, and I saw The Rink like 3 times. And what was that experience like? That was with Liza Minnelli and Chita Rivera's Candor and Ebb. It's a great score. It was a troubled show, but I loved it. And I mean, you sang "Marry Me," which is a gorgeous song. How was that experience? Was it troubled? Was it trouble in River City? Throwing out a Craig / Hugh Jackman reference.
By the way, I'm going to answer that question, but Craig, you will appreciate this. Well, you got trouble, my friends. Right here, say trouble right here in River City. Why, sure, I'm a billiard player. Certainly mine. Proud to say I'm always mighty proud to say it. I consider that the hour that I spend with the cue in my hand are golden. Helps you cultivate horse sense and the cool head and a keen eye. Did you ever take a drunk ride, but ironclad leave to yourself from a 3-rail billiard shot? But just as I say, it takes judgment, brains, and maturity to score in a ball line game. I say that any boob can kick and shove a ball in a pocket, and I call that sloth the first big step on the road to the depths of degradation. All right, good. That to prove the point. All right.
Well, you defined it.
Yes, you did, sir. Yes, you did.
Because I saw both of them.
I said that when I saw him backstage.
You know.
All right, I'm gonna answer your question about The Rink. It was the most glorious time I ever had.
A.J. Antoon.
A.J. Antoon. Paul Gemignani was the musical director.
The greatest.
Terrence McNally did the book. Candor and Ebb. Oh my gosh. And Robbie Marshall was my understudy in that show.
Wow.
Scott Ellis was in our ensemble. Cheetah, Liza. So it's Cheetah, Liza, 6 guys and a little girl.
Frank Mastricolo.
Frank Mastricolo. Scott Holmes. Ron. Yeah. So here's my favorite story, and I tell it all the time. People say, did you have a role model that you wanted to have in the business, right? And I met mine, and it was Chita Rivera. I was 24 when I did the show. Here's why. Aside from being gloriously talented and one of the kindest, dearest, funniest, greatest people on the planet, Chita Rivera, true story. So we had a policy on our show. If Liza Minnelli was out for a performance, the audience could get a refund on their ticket. We were in the Martin Beck Theater, now the Eugene O'Neill Theater. No, the
Hirschfeld.
Hirschfeld Theater.
I know, they've changed so much.
I know.
I hate change.
So I don't know what it is, 1,100 seats, 1,200 seats, whatever it is. And the stage manager goes back one night when Liza's out, goes back to Cheetah's room and says, Cheetah, honey, we got about 100 people out there tonight. So, look, you don't have to do that. It's humiliating. If you want, we'll just cancel the show. We'll just, She goes, If we cancel this performance, will the boys lose 1/8 of their salary? They said, yeah, they would. She said, call the boys down. So we all go to her dressing room. She goes, fellas, Liza's out. There's about 100 people out there. We don't have to do the show. You know what we could do? We'll all go out. We'll go to Curtain Up. We'll have dinner. We'll have a great time. We'll party. But you'll lose 1/8 of your salary. Or Mary Testa had just come in as Liza's.
I saw her do it too. She was magnificent.
And she said, Mary hasn't had a full put-in rehearsal with us, but she knows the role. It's 100 people. Why don't we could use it as a put-in for Mary, and we'll do it, and we'll have a great time, because we always fooled around on that show. We had lots of little in-jokes that we would do on the stage. And she said, we'll fool around, and then, we'll go out and we'll take Mary and we'll celebrate after the show, her put-in rehearsal. And we went, yeah, let's do that, right? And she could see in our eyes, the 6 of us were going, we are going to fuck around so hard, right? And she caught that and she went, guys, hang on. The 100 people that stayed. Give them our show. So why do I remember that? This incredibly humiliating thing was thrown at her feet. I mean, she's a Broadway legend, and because Liza wasn't there that night, and it was a 2-hander, most of the audience had left. So humiliating. Her first thought was her colleagues. Her second thought was her audience. And I went, that's who I want to be when I grow up. I want to think like that. And
that's great.
That was that show. That's what the experience of that show.
Great story, Jason. Jason, thank you for coming and doing this. I know it was
My
impromptu.
pleasure. I wanted to change the mood of the room.
You did both.
I thought orangutans and Liza Minnelli would do it. So.
Okay, in the interest of time, this next man is a surprise. Also not billed. We've all been hanging out with him in the green room, and he's a genuine legend. He is a guitarist, a harmonicist, an auto-harpist. Yes, just like Mario Cantone. A singer-songwriter. He is one of the great singer-songwriters of the rock, pop, and folk era. He is a rock and roll Hall of Famer. His work has inspired and influenced everybody from Brian Wilson to Paul McCartney. And a genuine music legend and a Manhattan native, the great John Sebastian.
And I'm a villager.
Yes, he is.
And I'm a block above the border, so I'm a little nervous about this. I was ready to go on, and a good friend of yours, Santo Padre, was a friend of mine, Della Croce. And
Della Croce.
Yes. Only WAPs we talk about here.
Yes.
It's a little relief. Yeah. And he actually warned me what was going to happen. So I was ready. They put the mic in front of me. I'm listening on headphones. This was that era when we couldn't actually get together. First question. So, John, do you know any Jews? But I was ready.
You were?
Because I'd been in a jug band. And that jug band was Stefan Grossman, David Grisman, Steve Katz, and then there were a couple of WAPs, me and Maria Muldor, who was then Maria D'Amato.
Maria Muldor. Wow.
Narrowly missed. So I started to do this song, and I really hadn't expected that Gilbert was gonna sing it, do the background parts. So please feel free to fill in where Gil can't do it tonight. Didn't have to be so nice. I would have liked you anyway. If you had just looked once or twice and gone upon your quiet way. Today said the time was ripe for me to follow you. I knew I'd find you in a day or two, and it's true. When we've had a few more days, I wonder if I get to say you didn't have to be so nice. I would have liked you anyway. When we've had a few more days, I wonder if I get to say you didn't have to be so nice. I would have liked you anyway. Today said the time was ripe for me to follow you. I knew I'd find you in a day or two. Now let's do this together. You didn't have to be so nice. I would have liked
you anyway.
If you had just looked once or twice and gone upon your quiet way.
Sebastian.
Hi, it's Paul Schaefer. I did the podcast a number of times. I would have hoped, of course, that Gilbert would have been present for his final podcast, but we sure remember him and love him, and the memories are, the memories just flow. Certainly, we all remember that at the podcast, Frank Santopadre would skillfully MC the proceedings. Gilbert was liable to tune out at any time and just get bored and go away until one might mention, Margaret Dumont, the old actress from the 30s. Then he's back immediately and gets interested again. Key story for me, though, when I first realized that Gilbert was one of the funny guys, is his first appearance on the CBS Letterman show, when I said, I want to play a medley of your flop year from Saturday Night Live theme, and that flop show you did with Alan Thicke, that theme. And he said, yes! He loved it. And I said, it might be a little long. He said, I'll just wait. And he said he was about to do his first stand-up. So Gilbert, we love you, and as to all, Frank and everyone pod on in my absence, love to all of you.
5 minutes, Mr. Gould.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Dana Gould, and I'm here to talk to you about our good friend, Gilbert Gottfried. Gilbert knew something that, when you look at stand-up comedy today, seems to have somehow gotten lost in the shuffle, and that's that a comedian's first job is to be sexy. All of Gilbert's greatest bits, Ted Bessel as Whit Bissell, to name one, all of his greatest bits had a subtext, and that subtext was 2 words: hello, ladies. Gilbert was in the business of red-hot loving, and he was open 24/7. I learned that from him and have taken it to the brink of, well, financial ruin. I'm sorry this whole thing was a joke, but I'm not really good with feelings.
What was it like being on the podcast with Gilbert? And Frank, of course. We laughed. All Gilbert and I ever did was laugh. We would laugh at each other, with each other. I just noticed, doesn't that look like a big sperm above my head? Yeah, it does. I think he would have enjoyed that. I remember on the podcast telling him a story I had never told him, which made him laugh beyond, for obvious reasons, that an ex-boyfriend of mine was absolutely certain, 100% sure, that I had had an affair with Gilbert. And that broke him up. And I'm still laughing at that. I miss him so fucking much. I love this man. Gilly, I miss you. What the fuck? Why did you leave us? Anyway, here we are without him, but we have the podcast, and we have YouTube, and we have a million different clips of him, and we have our memories, of which I have many. And they make me smile, and I have a big picture of him in my office so that when I'm working, I could see that crazy face and just laugh again, like we always did.
Neil Sedaka here. Gilbert, we miss you. Gilbert Gottfried was a comic genius, and I remember so well being on his program, his podcast with Frank. His favorite was Yiddish Mama, and he made me sing it on the podcast. He will be loved and missed by many. I got so many calls from millions of people, and my son called me. He was a big fan. Friends called me. Gilbert Gottfried, I love you, and I will always love you.
Doing Gilbert's podcast was
always a highlight for me. And I remember, I don't remember anything that I talked about, but I remember the joy, number one, the joy I had in just being in Gilbert's presence. Because even when you told the story, if he enjoyed it, nobody laughed harder than him. And nobody made me laugh harder than him. Just anything he asked me to do. But the one thing I remember is the podcast was always a joy.
Dave Thomas here. And on this, the occasion of Gilbert's final podcast, and as one of the guests on this show, which I was, I'm very happy to be part of the celebration of what Gilbert and his partner Frank actually did with this show. I've joked that in the year 2525, maybe sooner, all of show business may be remembered in one paragraph with a picture of Justin Bieber. And that's a shame, for a lot of reasons. But what I think Gilbert's amazing, colossal podcast actually did was take us on trips down memory lane with people who were there, people who remember a different kind of show business. Not better, although in some people's opinion, myself included, we would argue that maybe it was better, like maybe The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, Dean Martin, Bob Hope, and George Gobel is better than The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, Adele, Chris Pratt, and Amy Schumer. Hey, but that's just me. And like a lot of Gilbert's guests, I'm old. So I guess my job now is to just move aside and die and make room for the next generation. And believe me, like a lot of others, I'm trying to do my part there. But what Gilbert and Frank really did was put a stake in the ground and record some memories so that those days would never be completely lost. They're out there now in the zeitgeist. And that's something to celebrate with this final show. So thanks, Gilbert and Frank.
Gilbert was the funniest person of our lifetime. He was my friend. I love him. And I will miss him forever. Nothing else to say. He was the absolute funniest.
We're going to do this because it was Gilbert's favorite. And a tribute to Gilbert. You can sing as Gilbert if you like, or you can sing it sweetly. I want to quickly... Oops. I'm going to go over here. Where'd we lose Gino? This is a message from Paul Williams, who could not be with us tonight. Everybody have their lyrics? Got your lyric sheets? Gilbert loved this, and he loved to do it with Paul. We didn't do it on the show together, but this is a message from Paul, who wanted to be here, but his schedule didn't allow it. I wish I could be with all of you to celebrate Gilbert's life. May our sweet memories of life with Gilbert grow stronger with every mention of his name, and with every Gilbert Gottfried joke or story told, and the laughter that is his legacy. Gilbert loved music, he loved singing, and while his quick wit and magnificent madness were the thunder and the lightning of his being, his heart and soul broadcast an undeniable message of love. And somehow that Gilbert brand, oh my God, what next, was always seasoned with the elegance of kindness. The sweetness was the Gilbert Gottfried rainbow that we all connected to, and we love you, Gil, and always will. So let's try this. If you would all mask up again, we appreciate that.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows? What's on the other side?
Dara, come up.
Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. And rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're all wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
Thank you. Thank you. Lily Gottfried, Max Gottfried, Dara Gottfried. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you. How about a hand for these people? Let's start with the band. Joe McGinty, Seth Saltzman,
Julian Maley,
Gino Salamone, Craig Bierko, Richard Kind, John Davidson, Mario Cantone, Jason Alexander. Where's John? And John Sebastian backstage. This has been the honor of my life. Dara called and said, why don't we try this? And we wound up at her kitchen table talking to Dick Cavett. It was surreal. It didn't make any sense, but 600, 700 episodes later, it created this. It created this community. People that are watching this, we put cameras in here tonight so that people all over the world can watch it. I get mail from the UK, Australia, everywhere. Countries all over the world, people that have been moved by this, these wonderful people, these guests, how much they've contributed to this show. We just wanted to pay thanks. We just wanted to say thanks to the people we grew up with, the artists we loved, and we wanted to give something back. And it was special. It brought out a special thing in Gilbert, wouldn't you say? And in me. And I got to, my God, I was a kid from Long Island. Suddenly I was in a room with Dick Van Dyke and Carl Reiner and Norman Lear and Jimmy Webb and all of these wonderful people. It's surreal from day one. I am so proud of it. I'm so proud of what we created. I'm so proud of this community and these people. And we thank you. And we thank you, and you'll be able to see the video soon, and the episode will be up soon. And I want to thank all these people for giving us their time and coming out, and was very moved by Craig's words. And I made wonderful friends for life through this show. So I'm a grateful person. Thank you. I have no voice left. Thank you all for what you made this. God bless you.
Why are there so many songs about rainbows, and what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions. Rainbows have nothing to hide. So many people refuse to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Somewhere we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.